Frag Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another episode of Frag Tag Radio. And here with you today is your boy Pradius. And so got a couple games I want to review today. And then, of course, want to go over some updates coming to Warframe and Update 17 for consoles. Of course, Update 17 is already out on PC, has been for a couple weeks now. So we want to talk about that so the console players know what to expect, because I myself play on Xbox One, and others probably might play on PlayStation, and then some of you guys might be on PC as well. So I'm sure you already experienced most of this, but yeah. So the reviews I want to do a review on King's Quest. The first episode came out recently, A Night to Remember. So do a little review on that, and then also an indie game that popped up on Xbox One called Q.U.B.E, which is a director's cut of, I guess, the regular Q.U.B.E game, which I guess must have came out on PC previously. I didn't play it myself. This was my first time playing it on Xbox, so I want to do a little review on that, and then want to talk about the original Mass Effect a little bit, because since we've got the backwards compatibility program now for the preview members on Xbox, Mass Effect being one of the games that's available right now, it draws a lot of attention back to the older games from the last generation, and it's reminded me that I wouldn't mind playing some of those games through again. Definitely the Mass Effect series. Mass Effect 2 and 3 aren't backwards compatible yet, but they're definitely going to be. So I figured I might as well start playing through Mass Effect 1 now, get all my choices made, so when Mass Effect 2 gets added, I can start making my way through that, and then I will eventually have made my way through the complete trilogy all over again, which will be my fourth or fifth time playing through the trilogy completely. I've played through each Mass Effect game. I played through Mass Effect 1 about 7 or 8 times, Mass Effect 2 about 8 or 9 times, and Mass Effect 3 about 6 or 7 times. So I only carried the storyline completely all the way through from 1 to 3 to 4 or 5 times. But yeah, so I want to do a little bit of flashback talk about that game. Maybe you could call it a re-review, and that will be pretty much the size of what we got going on today. All right, so before we get into everything, of course, gotta give those shout outs to our partners over at Appy Gamer. Appy makes you happy. That's the big app right there that we're partnered with, available on Android, iOS, and Windows. Get it while it's hot. That's the best gaming news app out there. There's just second to none. Other than possibly Gaming News and Reviews, which is another big app. They are also on Android and iOS. They're not on Windows, but they're on both Android and iOS. So pretty much, unless you're on a BlackBerry, you can download it. And then lastly, Game On, which shouts to Troy, is on Windows Phone and iOS. This one's not on Android. Hopefully he could get an Android port of the app coming, eventually. But right now, Windows Phone and iOS. So without further ado, let's get on into it. So King's Quest. I used to play King's Quest a long time ago on PC. There was a King's Quest game called Air Today, Gone Tomorrow, which was one of my absolute favorite PC games when I was much younger. And so to see this game make a comeback, especially under the brand of Sierra, how they've sort of rebooted that brand, and it brought out other games under that brand like Shiftlings. It's nice to see that brand come back, and it's nice to see Sierra's biggest game, King's Quest, make a return. And while this King's Quest isn't made by the original developers of King's Quest, the husband and wife team, it definitely bears a lot of resemblance to the old King's Quest games, and it feels like a natural continuation of that series, like something they would have made. So the graphics are a little bit cartoony, which I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about at first, but over time, you kind of get used to the graphics, and they actually kind of add to the universe, I think. You are playing as the same guy you always have, The difference is in this one, he's an old man, and you have a granddaughter that comes to visit you, and while you're old man lying in bed, and you're telling her the stories of your past adventures. And when you start telling her a story of a past adventure, that's when it breaks into the gameplay, and you are playing as yourself as a younger man, actually reliving the adventure. So there's all kinds of really, really great puzzles, and they're very well thought out. I like the characters that you meet along the way. Very, very charming characters. Great story. There's a lot of nice morals in there. I do remember Air Today, Gone Tomorrow being a little bit darker than this one, like especially like when you went down into the catacombs and you had to fight the Minotaur, and stuff like that. But I think this is a nice lighthearted take on King's Quest, and soundtrack's really well done. Like I said, I like the story. A couple of the voices and I recognize from the voice cast, so they have evidently got some really good people together to do the voices for this King's Quest. And for a first episode, I think it's opening things up great. And I'm really looking forward to see where they take it from here. If maybe some of the future episodes get a little bit darker than the first episode, I'd really like to see that. But that remains to be seen. But for this one on the whole, I would say King's Quest Episode 1, which is called A Night to Remember, I would give it a solid 4 frags. If you were a fan of King's Quest back in the day, this is a definite must-buy for you. If you've never heard of King's Quest before, if that was before your time, then I would still suggest checking it out. Especially if you like puzzle games or point-and-click adventures, then this could definitely be for you. If you're not into puzzle games and you're not in point-and-click adventures, it's a little bit harder to recommend, but at the same time, I still feel like I should recommend it. And that might just be my nostalgia talking, being a longtime fan of the King's Quest series. But I'll let you make up your own mind on that. All right, and then so next game I want to review is Q.U.B.E, the director's cut. I got a code for this game in my email and decided to give it a shot. And I was pleasantly surprised when I was looking at the screenshots. I thought it was going to be more like Portal, but it's not really like Portal at all, other than maybe the scenery. So you play as a guy or a girl. It's not sure. I think a guy, but anyway. So you wake up in the middle of what looks to be like a padded room. I was like, am I in a mental institution or what? So, and then you look up and you've got these weird gloves on with lights on your fingers, and there's a chick talking to you on the radio, or I guess in a headset that you have on, or maybe connected through your suit. Really not sure. But evidently you are on some sort of a space station or space missile or alien-made asteroid or something. Whatever this is, it's floating towards Earth, and it's going to make an impact with Earth unless you are able to stop it. This is evidently some kind of a giant machine, and you need to get to the core of it and stop it. Now, evidently you knew about this before you came to it to stop it, and evidently once you got inside, you were rendered unconscious for many days, they say, and when you wake up, you have lost your memory. So you don't know really why you're in this cube right away until the chick in your headset starts to explain to you that you're here to stop this thing from impacting Earth. And as you progress through the story, you'll get more information about yourself from her through the headset. Evidently, you wrote a letter to yourself and information about yourself on a piece of paper just in case you lost your memory, because evidently, I guess they were expecting this to happen or knew it was a possibility. And you build your knowledge of yourself back up over time. But as far as the gameplay itself, the gameplay itself is the real star here. So every room is looks like a padded room, like a portal type of room. But instead of having portals and little mechanical robots walking around, you have these special gloves with the lights on them. And when you point them at blocks of different colors, they change to that color, and you can use the left or the right to either pull a block out or push it in, depending. Starts out real simple. You're in maybe a room with say the red blocks are blocks that you can pull out elongated, and you can usually pull it out about 3 blocks, 4 blocks width. And then they have these blue blocks, which are just 1 block, and if you push it down onto the floor and then step on it, it's like a springboard that'll spring you across the room or up in the air or wherever, depending on where the block happens to be placed. And then they have yellow blocks, which these yellow blocks always come in 3s, and whichever side you pull it up from is the side, it comes up like a staircase. So if you pull a block up from the right side is going to be the highest part of the staircase. If you pull it up from the left side is going to be the highest part of the staircase. If you pull it up from the middle, it almost looks like on Mario Kart, if you win a race, it's got the first, second, and third podiums. And if you're in first place, you're on the highest podium in the middle. If you're in second, you're on the sort of high, a little bit less higher in the right, and then third all the way lowest on the left. So it looks kind of like that, and depending on which way you manipulate the blocks will depend on whether you can make it to the next room. There are also little balls that can drop from the ceiling, which are activated by a play block on the wall. If you hit that, a ball will drop from the ceiling, and then there will be these see-through blocks of different colors, and you have to try and get the block to roll through, or the little ball to roll through a block and turn to that color, and then roll it into a hole in the wall or in the ground that is shaded that color of the ball. And usually there will be multiple holes, with different colors, and you have to strategically try and work the room to get the ball to go through different blocks on either side, change it to the right color, and then get it into the hole to progress. So there's lots of crazy different puzzles in there, and they're all really, really, really well done. There are some secret rooms as well. When I was playing through, I noticed a ledge on a wall that I could get to, but there was nothing else there. And I was like, let me just jump over there, mess around. And I noticed I could clip through the wall, and then I was in another area which had a block on the floor that looked almost like a Rubik's Cube, and then you step on that, and then it opens up a window straight ahead, and then this window was almost like a stained glass window with blocks of different colors, and then inside, behind that window, is another cubed room. Which another thing you can do is there will be arrows pointing up or down, and then you can actually move the walls of a room around, which is another way that adds to the puzzle. But anyway, so you had to try and get the blocks, pull them out of the wall in such a way that it matched up with the stained glass window, and then you have to step back and stand on the Rubik's Cube while you're looking at it to finish solving the puzzle if you've got all the colors lined up correctly. So it was really cool. It took me about 5 minutes to solve that puzzle. Wasn't too hard, wasn't too easy, but I definitely enjoyed my time with it. Overall, I really, really, really enjoyed Q.U.B.E. My only qualm with it would be that maybe it's a little bit short. I think it could have been a little bit longer. But other than that, it's just a great, great game. And if you are a fan of Portal, or if you like solving puzzles in general, then this game, I would say definitely worth checking out. 4.5 frags for Q.U.B.E, the director's cut. Really great game. I definitely suggest checking it out. And with that, Mass Effect. So, like I said, backwards compatibility is on Xbox One now for those of us in the preview program. And I played, Super Meat Boy, Shadow Complex, the first Gears of War. But those were just kind of really playing around, making sure all the backwards compatibility worked right. And then I didn't really mess with it too much. And then this past weekend, I was like, you know what? I feel like playing through Mass Effect again and making my way through that storyline again. I just happened to be looking through my games and apps and saw Mass Effect was there, ready to install. So installed it, got going through the story, and it's pretty amazing how well the first Mass Effect has held up over these years. Because it still feels great. The story is still amazing. The graphics are hit and miss. The character models look terrific, especially considering how long ago this game was made. However, the environments are very bland. It's like when they were making this first Mass Effect, they really concentrated on the character models, making them look good, and then the environments were just kind of secondhand. But they're by no means ugly. They just don't look near as good as the character models do, which kind of make them stand out, I think. Since it's obvious that not as much work was put into the textures for the environments as it was for the characters. I think if they had been on equal ground, like if the character models were a little less detailed, I might not have even noticed the background, the washed out backgrounds as much. But since the characters are so well detailed, it just kind of makes those backgrounds stick out like a sore thumb. Of course, Mass Effect 2 and 3, especially 3, looked gorgeous, still does to this day, and that problem was remedied over time through the next couple entries of Mass Effect. But yeah, so this time I'm playing through. I'm going for straight Renegade Shepard, making all the badass decisions, telling people to shut the hell up every chance I get, and it's been fun so far. When I played through the first time I ever played through Mass Effect, I played it through kind of mixed, a little bit Renegade, a little bit Paragon, just made decisions on a whim as I was playing through based on how I felt. And then when I played through it the second and third time, I played through it straight Paragon, but made different choices on my love interest. So this time I'm playing through it, and I'm going straight Renegade. And I think my plan is to romance Ashley in Mass Effect 1, then Miranda in Mass Effect 2, and then Ashley again in Mass Effect 3. I thought about doing Liara all the way through, which I had done in one of my previous playthroughs, but it wasn't a Renegade playthrough, just to see if that changed anything. But I'm thinking I'm going to do it this way this time. I'm really looking forward to Mass Effect Andromeda. It's a little bit sad that we're not going to see any of the awesome characters that we know and love from the first trilogy, but just being able to return to the Mass Effect universe at all is a great plus for me, and I know that on the new consoles it's going to look absolutely terrific. And the Mako coming back, that was another reason I really like going back to Mass Effect 1 was the Mako. I just really enjoyed driving that little thing around on those planets, and the way the side quests are, how you can just go to a planet and then all of a sudden you get an incoming transmission and some shit's going down and you gotta go down there and explore it or don't, and then sometimes it's timed, and if you don't go take care of this side mission right away, it'll disappear and you won't get another chance at it. I think the Mass Effect universe is just one of the greatest universes, one of the greatest games ever made. So playing back through it again has been a real treat for me. I'd say I'm about halfway through right now, Mass Effect 1, and can't wait to finish it up and get on to Mass Effect 2 once they hopefully add that to backwards compatibility. Mass Effect 1 is a straight up 5 fragger for anybody who doesn't know, anybody who's never played it. If you've never played the first Mass Effect, something is wrong with you. And with that, moving on to Warframe. I have a lot to say about Warframe because Warframe Update 17 is such a huge update. Probably the biggest update for Warframe in a long time. So with that, let's get into what you can expect in Update 17 for those of us on console. And if you're on PC and you've already experienced this, I'm sorry about that. Feel free to just bear with me. Alright, so the new quest is called Nata, and there is like this mystery drone thing that will seek out any player mastery rank 3 or higher, and once it does, this will cause the Lotus, who we all just absolutely adore, to initiate the new quest line. And then that brings us on to the new Warframe, which is called Equinox. And a little bit off topic, this is funny. I was watching Star Trek Voyager yesterday, and then there's an episode called Equinox where there is another Star Trek ship in the Delta Quadrant called Equinox that is pretty much they've abandoned all of the Starfleet, principles, and they're like killing these life forms to power the ship, and it's just crazy. So then, and then I get to there and read this, and just the word Equinox reminded me of that. So sorry about that trailing off. Anyway, so Equinox is the new Warframe. This is the Yin Yang themed Warframe, which is split between night and day. Equinox manifests aggressive and defensive forms at will. So, normal Warframe has 4 powers, and you activate those powers based on how you're feeling the situation. This one has powers that can switch. The first power is Metamorphosis, which switches the forms between day and night. So you could be the day version of Equinox or the night version of Equinox based on which version of this first power you have activated. Power 2 is Rest and Rage. If you are on the day version of Equinox, then you get Rage, which enemies in a small targeted area become vulnerable to damage. If you are in the night version of Equinox, then Power 2 is the Rest ability, which enemies in a small targeted area are put to sleep. If you are in the day cycle, Power 3 is Provoke, which increases power strength to all nearby allies. And if you are in the night cycle, Power 3 is Pacify, which reduces damage dealt by nearby enemies. And then lastly, Power 4, which is the ultimate ability for our character. If you are in day, it's called Maim. Nearby enemies are bled and then subjected to a wave of slashing force, which is slash damage. And then if you are in the night version, your ultimate ability is Mend. Allies are healed with each nearby enemy killed. So every time an enemy is killed, allies are healed. And I think that one right there is going to be great. So one of the biggest changes to Warframe and Update 17 is the Parkour 2.0, which everybody has been looking forward to. Not that the parkour is bad in Warframe right now. It's just got a few quirks about it. One being that everybody feels like they need to use a Orthos or a Thibodeau because it'll get you around the map faster than you would using, say, a Dragon Nakano or a regular sword. And then also the stamina bar, which is constantly running out, and anybody who doesn't know how to copter or work Warframe properly is all constantly running out of stamina, lagging behind. So this is going to fix all that. Number 1, stamina has now been removed from the game completely in Update 17. You no longer have to worry about stamina. I think that was a great call. Great call. Thank you, DE. Appreciate that. And along with stamina being gone is a bunch of new maneuverability stuff you can do. One being double jump. Players can now use a second jump while in midair. Bullet jump. Pressing the jump button after sliding will send the player into a mid-air dash, temporarily improving movement speed. Players can use bullet jump as a double jump in any direction. Wall latch. You can now latch to walls and hang there and shoot at enemies down below while you're latched on the wall. Aim gliding. This is the new John Woo thing where you can jump in either direction, and while in midair, if you hit the aim button, you will decrease your fall speed to a sort of slow motion where you can and then just kind of take people out while you're doing that slow motion John Woo fall, or maybe like a Max Payne bullet time type of deal, which is pretty sweet. I look forward to checking it out. Also, zip lines. Pressing X while near a zip line will allow players to jump directly on the zip line. Players can now run or dash along zip lines and move from zip line to zip line, double jump from them, all sorts of crazy stuff. It's going to completely change the way the game feels as well as plays. I think And if you've already experienced this on PC, you can feel free to jump in the comments. I think it's going to completely change the way that we think about Warframe, not just in the way of movement, but in our tactics and everything. I'm really looking forward to playing around with the new Parkour 2.0 for myself when it makes it to consoles. And because there is no stamina, Chroma from Warframe has had his stamina stuff changed up to other things. And he's been adjusted according to that. Arcane helmets that were affected by stamina have been changed up to offer different abilities rather than stamina. The Uranus tileset expansion, Uranus mission nodes have been given a total overhaul with the new Grenier underwater lab tile set, so you can look forward to that. There's also a new boss fight. Tile Rhaegor is back and stronger than ever, and he looks completely different than he did before, and the boss battle plays out completely differently. It's much more in-depth boss battle than just shoot him and kill him. So I think people are gonna really love that. And we also have, all right, so this was another new big addition, is the Exilus mod slots, aka utility slots. Players will now be able to unlock Exilus slots for their Warframes, which provides an additional utility mod slot. So sort of like how you have the Aura mod slot at the top, there's now going to be a utility mod slot as well. And this is where you'll use mods like Rush to increase your movement speed, or Handspring or Maglev to increase your sliding, stuff like that. You won't have to use, or Marathon, maybe something like that. You won't have to, well, you won't need Marathon anymore because of the whole stamina being gone, but things that increase your speed or change your movement, you won't have to put them in one of your normal spots. You can just put them in that utility slot now, which I think is great because it frees up a slot, or maybe multiple slots with stamina being gone now, for us to use to actually make our frames more powerful with other mods that we would rather be using. So that is going to be terrific. New enemies. There is a bunch of new Drakkar enemies. The Drakkar Lancer, Elite Lancer, Scorpion, Trooper, Butcher, Hellion, Ballista, Heavy Gunner, and yeah. Also, there is some of that new Sharkwing stuff on Uranus. So you'll be doing a mission on Uranus, and then you'll be able to go into underwater. And when you go underwater, you bust out with your Arcwing, which people are, calling the Sharkwing now. And there will be enemies specific to being underwater, which will be the Draga, the Derek Draga, the Shock Draga, the Manic, the Blunt, the Rampart. So it'll be a bunch of new enemies that you'll experience underwater with your Arcwing or your Sharkwing, however you want to call it. All right, and then some new weapons. So we've got, so far, a new Warframe, and then here come the new weapons. The Kullstar, rain hell on enemy with a handheld cluster rocket launcher. That sounds pretty badass. Harpack, spike enemies to the wall or reel them in this automatic harpoon gun. Nice. Gradler, shatter your targets with explosive shells from this devastating Arcwing cannon. All right, so that's a new Arcwing weapon. Ack and Brunt, Tile Rhaegor's custom axe and shield are how he likes to eliminate frustrations. So you can actually acquire Tile Rhaegor's weapons now. And then the Twin Grakatas. When one Grakata isn't enough, bring another one, baby. And I have used the regular Grakata and the Prisma Grakata, so I wouldn't mind checking them out. Probably it could be one of my favorite weapons, but I'm definitely going to want to use them long enough to get that XP anyway, baby. And then you've got new mods, most of which are based around the new utility slots. I won't go through all of them, but needless to say, there are some pretty cool ones, and some of them can actually increase your damage based on different elements. If you equip those to the utility slot, you'll be able to increase your toxic damage or heat damage or cold damage, as well as increasing your maneuverability, which is pretty sweet. There's also a new stance mod, which is a sword and shield stance mod called the Final Harbinger. Powerful slashes and shield attacks. So the Silva and Aegis fans will be happy to see that, as well as those who are going to be using the new Ack and Brunt Tile Rhaegor weapons. There's been a few changes made to different gameplay modes, defense, mobile defense, capture, that sort of thing. We won't go into too in depth on those. Instead, we'll just roll on to the Coop Bro Expansion. So now there is Coop Bro armor available. There are two different types of Coop Bro armor available in Update 17, which is the Rostam armor and the Valen armor. So I guess based on your preference, you choose one of those and put some armor on yo Coop Bro. Customize your Coop Bro with unique sets of armor. Available in the market. Coop Bro armor can be equipped via the arsenal near your companion. There is also a new Coop Bro breed, which is the Chessa Coop Bro. The Chessa Coop Bro can be incubated from Coop Bro eggs, trained to bring master items scattered across the battlefield. The Chessa Coop Bro is especially useful for tennos that need a helping paw in carrying their valuable resources. So this could be for you. If you're a mastery rank guy like me, you're going to be doing it anyway just for the XP. And then the new Incubator upgrade module. This can only be acquired in the Dojo Lab. So if you're not in a clan, I suggest you get in one. And then you can acquire the Incubator module from the Dojo Lab. This Incubator upgrade module reduces stasis recovery to 30 minutes. Stasis recovery can be rushed with credits rather than platinum. Coop Bros are automatically placed into stasis if they become mortally ill, so they no longer just die, which is great. Egg incubation reduced by a day, and stabilizers last twice as long. So sounds to me like it is very worth getting, especially if you're into the Coop Bros. If you're wondering about the Cat Bros, unfortunately, those are not part of Update 17, but they will be coming shortly after, probably along with the Star Chart rework as well. I'm not sure that's going to be coming sometime shortly after Update 17 as well. As you know, under the bundles part of the market, there's a bunch of icon bundles, and they're kind of littering the area. So they're going to be taking all those icon bundles out of the bundles part of the market, and there is going to be a specific area of the market for icons from now on. So look forward to that. Let's see. And then capes. Capes are now a part of a thing. There's these new cloth mechanics where cloth and capes actually make sense now for Warframe because they'll flow in the wind and look just like a Tenno superhero, baby. There's 4 of them. Or maybe only 3. No, there's 4. The Ivara Sayandana, the Vanquished Banner, the Nalumbo Sayandana, and the Udyat Sayandana, which are all cape-ish Sayandanas for you to check out. Alt fire for your weapons is here. Players can now aim down the sights with weapons with an alternate fire option. Activating alt fire options has a default binding to the controller or mouse, depending on what you're playing. The Arcane Distiller. Alright, so this is cool. When the raids first came out, people were scared to install arcane mods on their helmets and Sayandanas because they, weren't sure if they'd be able to remove them, and then people find out you can't. So a lot of people were holding off. Me being one of those people, I haven't installed any arcanes onto any of my helmets or Sayandanas because I wanted to be sure I'd be able to remove them first. Thankfully, the Arcane Distiller now allows players to remove arcane enchantments from cosmetics. The Arcane Distiller is available in all syndicates, so no matter what syndicate you're in, you can get it, although it costs 100,000 standing. So make sure you save up your standing to get that. Let's see. Conclave additions and changes. There are now 3 maps: the Spire, Apex, and the Pit. So if you're into the PvP on Warframe, you can look forward to checking those out. Also, some new mods for Conclave, which is great because up until now, since PvP 2.0 came out, there hasn't been a lot of mods for Conclave. I think I've only got maybe 2 or 3 mods equipped on each weapon, and 2 mods equipped, or maybe 3 on my Warframe. So hopefully we can actually start, taking advantage of our extra slots and pimping out our frames for PvP. I won't go through all of them, but pretty much there are actual mods that increase the damage to your weapons now. You can increase impact damage, puncture damage, slash damage, or convert this type of damage into that type of damage. All sorts of craziness going on. So a bunch of new mods for you to play around with if you are into Conclave on Warframe. Plus, Saren and Zephyr are now available to use in the Conclave, and they've added a bunch of weapons. You can use the Burston, Opticore, Miter, Hein, Grinlock, Bearlock, Twin Gremlins, Tiburon, Tetra, Buzzlock, Attica, Vasto, Seer, and Supra, all now usable in the Conclave. Shotgun buffs, they have increased damage to all shotguns. So if you are a shotgun person but have felt that they were a little bit underwhelming, then that buff could be for you. I personally don't use shotguns myself. However, my companion, I am always using the Sweeper Prime, which came with the Carrier Prime when Ash Prime came out not too long ago. So I hope this buffs his shotgun, your companion shotgun, as well. If so, that is terrific, because I already have my Sweeper Prime pimped out to where it is already a beast, like taking out enemies before I can even shoot them. And so if this is going to make it even more powerful, that's going to be sweet. And let's see, Frost changes. They've reworked Frost. We talked about this on a previous episode. Like his Ice Wave, instead of going out in a straight line, it actually cones out now to cover a larger area. Snow Globe no longer has a duration timer, so don't have to worry about that. Recasting Snow Globe at 4 will destroy the oldest globe. Frozen enemies will no longer be frozen in place. Instead, enemies will maintain their velocity and be susceptible to gravity pushback. Enemies that are frozen solid can be shattered by colliding with something if they are moving fast enough. Frost passive conclave applies to chill instead of freeze. And then some changes to the stats on some of the Warframes. Rhino Prime's base armor has been increased from 190 to 275. Frost Prime's base shield has been increased from 150 to 175. Nyx Prime's base shield has increased from 100 to 125. Nyx Prime's base armor has increased from 15 to 50. Ember Prime's base shield has increased from 100 to 125. And Mag Prime's base hit points have increased from 75 to 100. And there are tons and tons of other smaller changes, additions, and additions to Warframe and Update 17, which, if you're interested, the complete patch notes are on the warframe.com website. Feel free to check them out there. I just recently put up a review for Rare Replay on our site. Feel free to check that out. And that is about it for this episode. And we will be catching you again very soon. It's been a great show. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Frag Radio.